start ironing it dry and you spray that iron. But this is very unhealthy, much less safe than even using burlax. And the glycerin chemist method I already talked about. Check my starch playlist. See what it contains. It contains all that nonsense. All those chemicals to preserve it for a long time because it can be kept for years. Warning. Look, it contains do not inhale nor spread it into eyes. So it is very unhealthy because you are going to inhale it when my irons were there. It was only outdoors, see? Do not inhale nor spread. 12% by mass of the contents are flammable. Contains 12% at least 12% contains methylchlorosidiazole nonsense and all these awful chemicals and they produce an allergic reaction. Do not use this. Or use it only for color. Just one spray on each side max. If you do it like every perhaps 2 weeks max. And not more. Because I'm going to do it outside already. This is very unhealthy. So how to start a shell like that then? A dark color. Well then one has to boil the starch. It has to become like a jelly. So one must use much more water than what I do. And boiling water, and it has to become like a jelly. Right? So I really explained that in a video. Another video, a post. That I made on Instagram to check it out. There's a post where there's a photograph of a bluish starch, right? It may not work even by boiling, because sometimes with boiling what happens, I try it on my black canvas imitation trousers that were part of the 890 striptease video playlist, but they were not starched then. And what it did was, for trousers was very long, when it's ironing, sometimes if it becomes too hard, like it should, to make it stiff, rather than penetrate the fiber, it literally coats it, like on these, it laminates it. And what happens when it is very dry, it cracks, and below that crack, it is simply soft. But I will try it, because now I'll see what it looks like on a... It is not that there are more stands on a color one, but simply even on a... Hence the reason for which most, at least upper middle class, or even middle class, and especially people still, when they had stiff sheds, even though they did not desire for a white one, because of all the things that I talked about already, they still desire to be quite whitish in effect, so it will not share all the starch powder. And so what I did there to test it, I did not actually iron that part. It is even worse. So not only is it not stiff because it has not been cooked, the starch has not been cooked, but there is even more of a powdery effect. By ironing it below, which I did for that cuff, it is not really shaded powdery effect, but it does shade underneath, so it looks as if the cuff is dirty. I mean, I've not really that technique, and if it does not start worth boiling it. Also, I only used 150 milliliters of starch powder for the same quantity of water, 600 milliliters, with for the colors to get it super stiff, as I did on my Instagram post about the 940 wing color. I used 300 milliliters of starch for only 600 liters of water, so much less starch. It still got very stiff, I'm lucky. But see the difference with the color, although it is fused, heavily fused in starch and better, I talked about that color in the playlist. Still it got super stiff, and no starch residue powder. It only is a little bit pink because it got from the dye from the cloth, and that's I can't want to talking about those easily available medium grade. Some may even consider them high grade, high level imitations and only production shirts available on eBay, second-hand or new, but new second-hand, yes. Again, it is molded together and then it had on cotton. From brand, this is from the Classics, the Send in My Trousers, but they are problematic because the color is fused, although one is heavy, it still gets very stiff. That is where it is problematic, especially for someone built like me. Now, I will come to talking about the size again. I said in the Gangs of New York playlist And the average height in 1900 was 15 centimeters less than now. I rechecked everything and we talked about that with my mother, which is quite old, and she knew her own great-grandfather, knew a lot about him. And no, they were not quite that short. They were that short in the gangs of New York era, but by 1900 or even 1890, perhaps even 1880, life being better, on average people with 10 centimeters, not 15, only 10 centimeters shorter than today. And I still have a short for today's Western word, apparently not. Apparently I'm only the spot on average. I'm 178, 1 meter 78 centimeters, which is barely 5 feet 9. But I have very broad shoulders for my frame, for my height. So, if I get... Stop that! So, if I get... Right, so the good thing about those shirts from Frontier Classics, Schoolie or Warmaker, and they also have less of those, but there's also a brand called Old West Classics. No, classic Old West styles. And there's also something called Wahoo Maker, so almost like Warmaker. But you shall find a lot from Frontier Classics, Schoolie and Warmaker. The problem with them is they're not too long. That is good. There's no requirement for altering them for the growing areas stem problems that I've talked about ages. Over and over again. So the problem is the sizing. So for someone especially like me to get, first of all, the problem is the fusing, but as you may see, it is not so much of a problem, and there's barely any fusing, if any, in the cuffs, and so they get very stiff. The cuffs get very stiff. So the problem, because they have light collars with stripes and all, the problem is the sizing. Because to get a medium size, to make the collars very large, much larger than upon the originals. And to do have a lot meant to take removable collars, and they can't really be well on their own with a neckcloth. I tried, and see, this is a half a bow tie, the other half is clips on, never mind. They're bent with a neckcloth or bow tie, whatever. I tried with men and neckcloth. It rides up. And because it is so large, this is a 17 inch. So buttonhole to buttonhole is really 16 and a half. But because there's so much overlapping, it functions, it behaves like a 17 inch. And that's a 17 inch and a half collar, removable collar like that one has to be wear. And know that this is all I don't wear it because I think this is tall enough. So I wear it without the neckcloth for 2 weeks. And then for the last 2 weeks, you might tell it is summer in Dubai, it's past the heavily, so how come a white collar lasts 2 weeks? But because it is not barely touching my neck, it does last 2 weeks. Also, I wash my hair every week now, so the hair barely dirties it. So, I do that. I do a removable collar. Know that this collar can't be heavily starched because it is heavily fused. I have still not washed it. I wore 2 weeks. This is one of the 1940s or 50s radiate collars, the green one. I talked about in the striped collar playlist. Right? And notice that it is just bottom. So now these shirts, they come at most with a button sole in the back. This is great. It's actually, I find better than a stab. Some originals will like that because at least it does not get lost. And buttons around the wear. And then see, this is spot on the right side. And this collar can be heavily starched. So imagine if it was a heavily starched collar, like which I have, which would be a 17 and a half. It would require be at least a 17 and a half because they have to force it almost a bit, especially when the collar is heavily starched like it is now. I'm in the band collar. That's forward. See how large it is? It looks like a bloody clown. When I wear it with a bow, it comes in the way of the waistcoat and the coat, which are more size appropriate to me. So all of that to say that if I were to purchase the small size, then the shoulders would be not behaving right, you know, it would be too snug. So for a lot of men, especially those with